So it's time to get out your little cameras that make phone calls again and do some questions here. And then we're going to pose the questions to our panelists. And if you have a question directed to a particular panelist, then go ahead and put their name up there somewhere so we can see what that is. And I don't know if we anticipated how we were going to do this without a wireless mic, but we're going to do the best we can with what we got. So let's see what kind of questions are coming in here. And what is the uptake of living shorelines by contractors, builders, developers? Are they starting to use this kind of thing as new homes are built on the shoreline and homes are retrofitted, as happens so much where people are tearing down the old homes, building new ones? A lot of development on the shoreline in Sarasota. So I'm thinking, Armando, that might be going to you, man.
Yes. Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yes, this fact has been developed a course for marine contractors to move into training and to have to do more living shoreline. So I'm not going to say that everybody's on board, but there's a lot of people getting into this, you know, going more natural habitats. I'm not going to shout in the mic. Moving to more natural habitats, using more native plants. So yes, so there's been we need to see more of that. So, but yeah, it is happening, and there's resources for people, developers, marine contractors as well, people doing the maintenance as well, the monitoring of all these programs. So yes.
Okay, here's a question, and this could anyone who wants to jump into it. What partnerships surprised you the most in your projects? What was your unexpected success?
County staff. You know, typically when you work with government staff, it's all top down. Here's the program. You know, you got to fill out the forms and so forth. They came to us and say, "What do you need? How can we help?" I think we really kind of changed the culture. It was in stormwater area. Stormwater in Sarasota County has $17 million a year to spend, and they have changed their culture. They want to help. They're out there, folks. We did 1.5 miles of restoration, 150,000 native plants, and now there are only 789 miles left, many of which are in your neighborhood.
So why do you think we go to communities where the river walks are all hardened shoreline, just like seawall to seawall? What's up with that? We know it wasn't like that at the very beginning. Why is it like that now?
I think we haven't really changed our mental image of what is attractive and what's easy to maintain. And so I think the challenge, while we are making some progress with contractors, perhaps with training and so on, I don't think we've as individuals and as property owners come to the realization that this too, a living shoreline with plants, is beautiful. You know, an awful lot of people think of those as weeds. And I think we need to change what we consider beautiful.
And I also think there's some misconception of what is good for you and will protect you. When you see the big wall, concrete wall, people think that's going to protect my property better than a bunch of plants, and it's all the way around. So I think it's a misconception, and also just domino effect. Somebody put a seawall, and seawalls, in some cases you need them. I'm not going to say seawalls are totally bad. In some cases you have to have a seawall because of the property you are. In most cases you don't, and seawalls actually enhance erosion and transfer it to the people next door. So when you see a seawall, it's a domino effect. You see then another one and another one. So again, it's just lack of understanding and misconceptions.
Thank you, Armando. Hey, Harrison, you know, you talked about this all starting in the neighborhood. So anybody, maybe you have an idea or somebody else, how many neighborhoods in Sarasota County have shorelines where they could go out and do a project like you did in South Bend?
Well, we have 5.5 miles of shoreline along Lemon Bay. And there's many more miles. You have the experts are here on Sarasota and Sarasota Bay. Let me just say this about Lemon Bay. There's been over $1 billion spent on cleaning up Sarasota and Little Sarasota Bay over the last 50 years. There's been almost nothing spent on Lemon Bay. We need to focus on that.
Right, so now we got to figure out what those gaps are, those places in between.
And something to remember is that we're all connected to the watershed. We're all connected to the Gulf. So even if I don't live at the shoreline, I impact what's happening in the water. So even if I'm far removed, that water will eventually make it to the Gulf. So changes in your landscape, even if you don't have frontline property, waterfront property, you can make big changes as well.
Anybody involve youth in your restoration efforts, your cleanup efforts, your shoreline stuff? Are youth engaged in this? Okay, I see all the heads nodding and bobbing.
We're a pretty old community.
You're young at heart, though.
We had 25 people who planted 3,000 plants and nobody was under 65.
You're young at heart, man.
We've had Girl Scouts and other young people, kids that are family members and so forth.
Melissa, a question for you. How long did it take you to become such an awesome drone pilot?
How many years have I been flying? And it took, like I said, 6 months before my hands stopped shaking. But legally, when you fly a drone, what you guys don't know is you always have to have your drone in visual line of sight. You can only fly it with 400 feet up in the air legally. My drone can go up to, I've got it going up to 50 miles per hour. But the key is you have to keep that drone in your line of sight and see what you're flying. So, you know, the camera's my eyes, and it gets turned around. So whichever way the camera's facing is forward. But I've captured a lot of amazing stuff. And when you talk about restoration, I just want to give you all kudos up here for, you know, talking about, you know, fertilizer is bad and the native habitats and you know, what the work we're doing in the community. I know that the red tide was a big thing. And the one thing that you guys didn't see that I saw up in the sky was how big of an effect we had, how that's going to affect our ecosystem. And I got to go out there and see the little fish that died, that you guys didn't see, that didn't wash up, that went down to the bottom. It was devastating, you know, and every little bit, any little thing that you guys can do matters. And, you know, there's blackout periods for fertilizer, so just get educated, you know, and read up on water quality and just simple practices, and I think that that's the best advice I could give. Here's let me take it away.
Hey Armando, since you got the mic, do you think a vertical oyster garden is filled? Do you see that as filled?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, a vertical oyster garden. You know, I'm thinking that they're thinking of like along a seawall. You know, Jack talked about how the state and the county laws in the city prohibit you. Do you see that as fill, or do you see that as something else?
No, I think that's a good idea. I mean, oysters, we losing a lot of oyster beds and critical organism for us in terms of water quality. One oyster can pump to like 50 gallons per day. So talking about improving your water quality. So if you can do that as well, and we have resources, we have information about how can you do that as well. In terms of permitting, there might be some difficulties, but you can get in there. So yeah, so I see that's something that people can do to enhance their seawalls, definitely.
Yeah, and this other question kind of relates to that. And why are the city and the county averse to adding things to preserve shorelines like natural shell and stuff when actually the entire bayfront Sarasota was, you know, backfill from dredging out of the bay?
Hey, I'll take that first. You know, I think that governments have become averse because of all that dredge and fill to approving any type of fill for fear that it will be misused and developers might say that I'm building a restoration project when indeed they're actually trying to fill more land or to remove mangroves and so forth. So I think that's part of the challenge is that we have a legitimate concern about what constitutes proper use of things like fill.
All right, we're going to do one more question. Since, you know, the astronauts up at the International Space Station clean up after their pets, how come we can't get dog owners around here to clean up after their pets?
I just spent 20 minutes cleaning up after pets last night in the Grove. And I want to invite you all to the after party at the Grove at 5 o'clock when the Florida Water Stewards are coming by. And come out and visit us. We're at Seminole and Quincy in South Venice. And you'll get to see what we've done with the native plants. And we have over 80 native plants planted there as well.
All right, let's have a big hand for all